The M2 MacBook Air will be Apple's biggest selling laptop ever, and in today's show I will tell you why. I'm Dave, and I simplify Apple so that everything just works for you. And if you want the latest Apple news, leaks and rumours every weekday at 12 UTC, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And before we get on to that story, a couple of others that have come in. So first of all, from WB Fine Woodworking, Apple's product Red will continue to support COVID relief until the end of 2021 at least, and then presumably it will switch back to its normal charity, which is relief for HIV/AIDS. So thank you very much for throwing that one my way. I think this one came out about a week or so ago, but very cool to know, and we didn't point it out on the show before, so thank you. Next up, yesterday Apple has released the MagSafe Battery Packs for the iPhone 12 series, and it actually adds a new feature that hasn't been in use before. So reverse wireless charging is built into this and built into the iPhone 12, which we kind of knew was there. We had inklings that the technology was there. Everyone thought at the time when the leaks came out for this, and it was before the iPhone 12 was actually released, that this would be for charging AirPods and AirTags. So you'd be able to basically lay them on the back of your phone and top up their charge. However, turns out that this is the accessory that reverse wireless charging was put there for. So essentially you can charge this thing, you stick it onto the back of your iPhone, obviously, but you can charge it by either plugging in the battery pack, and then your iPhone can charge from the battery pack, which is quite helpful, or you can plug in your iPhone, and that, once it gets to 80%, will then charge onto the battery pack. Which I think is quite interesting that you can do it either way. You can plug in either of the items, the iPhone or the battery pack, and that one will charge the other. Now, the reason for this, originally it looked like you would just plug in the battery pack, and that basically becomes like a MagSafe charger while it's plugged in, and a backup battery pack while it's not. But if you need to plug in the iPhone, for example, if you're in a car and you need to use a data connection over that cable as well, then you can also kind of top up your battery pack while it's plugged in. It's quite cleverly done, and I kind of like what they've done here, but it also makes me think, why on earth haven't they thought to themselves, let's just enable this for wireless charging other stuff? Maybe that's something that will come in the next version of the software. Maybe it's a feature that they're going to announce at the iPhone event. We will see on that one. Also, at the same time, Apple has also released some new colours in their extremely reasonably priced AirTag leather loops, which are just $39, only $10 more than the AirTag that you hold in them. The new colours are Baltic Blue, California Poppy and Forest Green, joining the existing red and saddle brown. I absolutely don't recommend anyone buys any of these because they are far, far too expensive for what they are. And you can jump on eBay and you can get stuff that will do exactly the same job for about $2 to $3. Also, we have released candidates for tvOS 14.7, WatchOS 7.6, macOS 11.5, and iOS and iPadOS 14.7. These have been released by Apple, so these are basically, when we say release candidates, this means it's basically the final version being checked out by developers and the public beta testers to make sure that there's nothing that's been missed. And this will include support for the battery packs, nothing super exciting other than that, but a lot of bug fixes. But newer is always better, because the past was the worst. And on to our main topic, the M2 MacBook Air is going to sell like absolute hotcakes. Not like Intel hot, but, you know, warm. So here we go. It's time to talk about that MacBook Air with M2 inside. Now, it's important to understand what this is, so we will start off with the processor and work our way out. The M2 is expected to have the same design layout as basically the M1, with 4 performance cores and 4 efficiency cores, although those cores will be from the A15 iPhone generation, which means around about 20% faster performance on each core, assuming that they follow the normal path. The thoughts are also that the M2 will contain more GPU cores, possibly 10 GPU cores, with 9 core versions being released for the bin chips as well. So if you've ever seen that we have the 7 core options for GPUs and 8 core options with the M1, that's not a different chip design, that's purely that when the chips are manufactured, if there's an error on one core, they can disable that core and keep 7 cores, which is absolutely plenty for the vast majority of things that anyone will do with these things. Now, I have to say, I think there is a non-zero chance that Apple switches to 6 performance cores and 2 efficiency core layout too, as the M1X is reported to only need 2 efficiency cores with 8 performance cores over there. Whether this actually happens will be based on whether the iPad Pro needs to have the 4 efficiency cores, but I think it's a pretty good bet that Apple will be testing that possibility ahead of time. My thoughts are that having seen the actual use cases once the M1 was in the wild, that those efficiency cores are not used as much as Apple expected in day-to-day use, so that could well be the case. Now, I still believe that the MacBook Air will stay without any active cooling, but the M2 cores will likely be more power efficient and battery life could be beyond what we have right now, as losing the wedge shape of the past is also going to leave more space inside for battery capacity. In terms of the look, we have renders by Mr. Apple tomorrow showing the demise of the wedge and the shift to the flat-sided design language of the iPad Pro. These MacBook Airs are also expected to feature dual USB-C Thunderbolt connectors, as well as colour options for the aluminium body that will pretty much match the iMacs that we've already seen. Oh, and the keyboard and bezels will be white, and I've seen a lot of YouTubers mention how terrible a white keyboard will be because they'll get dirty and grubby over time, but this still looks alright. I think they're going to be fine. I do wonder if people are trying to kind of pad out their content a little bit when they're worrying about that, but honestly, we've had white keyboards on MacBooks in the past. They've never been a massive issue. Yeah, you have to clean them occasionally, but you have to clean black ones too. It's just that if you don't clean your black one, you can't see how minging it is. All the crud is still there, making it disgusting. You just don't know. So why will this be the best-selling MacBook, or indeed Mac, to date? Well, as much as we've all been shouting for the 14-inch and 16-inch M1X MacBook Pros, they won't come even close to the sales of these things. The MacBook Air has long been Apple's bestseller, and right now it's the best-selling laptop on Amazon from any manufacturer. Now that's just going to accelerate once there are new, bolder colour options. Redesigns always push more upgrades, just as happened with the iPhone 12 range, and the vast majority of MacBook users aren't power users. They want a laptop for office apps, watching movies, checking emails, and while that might feel like a waste to those of us who are comparing Geekbench scores and running Cinebench on our Apple Watches, it's the truth, and these things are just going to sell like hotcakes. But remember, if you want to toast your hotcake, you might want to grab an Intel. So we're going to go into iCave answers now, but if you want a question answered for yourself, all you need to do is leave a comment down in the comments section with hashtag iCaveAnswers, and if you've enjoyed this stuff about the MacBooks, then hit subscribe because it really helps me out. First up, Joe asks, iCave Answers, iPad Air 5 in 2022 or 2023? Joe, you are a less optimistic man than me. I honestly think that 2021 we will get the updated iPad Air 4. I hope they're not going to change much other than giving it the A15 processor. That's all they need to do. Just change the board out. That's absolutely fine. We will all be happy with that. And that could come in September or October. Now, there have been rumours that there will be an OLED version of the iPad coming. I'm not sure, but that won't be coming until 2022 at least. So let's just have up-to-date processors every year. It's not that hard, Apple. Just swap the chip. Just swap it. Just swap the chip. Laboni Nath asks, iCave Answers, what will be the price of the Mac Pro Mini? Now, when I was reading through these, as I was putting the script together for the show, I read this as the Mac Mini Pro, i.e. the Mac Mini with the M1X inside. However, I think you mean the Mac Pro that's a bit smaller. That's just going to be called the Mac Pro. I don't know why people think it's going to be called the Mac Pro Mini, but maybe I've said that in the past myself. So the ones with multiple M1X cores in there, I think we're going to be probably looking at, I would hope they're going to start them at around $3,000. Like, I think that's reasonable. I think the Mac Pros that we have right now that start at like $6,000 is far too expensive, especially for the performance that you get. The promise of it was always that it was going to be that much more upgradable. So you buy the chassis and then you put your own stuff in it. There's basically no real upgrade path for it right now. So I think around about $3,000 is probably practical. That's where the Mac Pros of the past started. So that's my hope. 3 to maybe 3.5. For the Mac Mini with the Pro chip, I think that's going to be either $10.99 or maybe even $9.99, because that's what the product is replacing. It's replacing the $10.99 Mac Mini that's out there at the minute with Intel. and it looks like Apple wants to keep the pricing pretty much in line with what they've done in the past, but the Mac Mini got $100 off last time, so maybe it'll get it again, maybe $9.99. Steve Son asks, iCave answers, will the Mac Minis support more than 2 monitors with more available I/O? And yes, I do think that that's going to be the case. It looks like they're going to have 4 USB-C ports on the back, as well as 2 USB-A ports. It is the one legacy product that's apparently going to keep USB-A. I don't really know why, but it's going to do it. I suppose some people might want to plug in a printer and can't be bothered with buying a $2 cable. But in terms of display support, yes, I think we're probably going to get at least 3 displays over USB-C/Thunderbolt, and it will probably be a case of you can daisy chain them. Hopefully Apple will bring out their new kind of display that's not necessarily a Pro one, but hopefully with daisy chain support on that, so that we can minimize the number of ports we need to take up. And they'll probably also have a hub built into them and all that sort of stuff. So that would be cool too. Travis Smith asks, iCave answers, when will Apple CarPlay view get the turn-by-turn steps on the head unit instead of looking at them from the iPhone? So I had to look into this because I'm pretty sure that you can do turn-by-turn navigation on CarPlay, but what you might be asking me actually is, can you have the list of all the turn-by-turn stuff? Honestly, I'm not sure on that one, and I'm also not convinced that it's the most useful thing. Putting the list of turns up there is more something that you would have if you've got a passenger that's helping you out, but I think if it's on the display of the vehicle, it's probably not as useful as having just the turn-by-turn up. So honestly not sure, but if you want to clarify the question and if I'm missing your point, please do back down in the comments. Thomas Rundle asks, iCave answers, do you know when Apple will begin the UK Back to School 2021 promotion, please? It seems to have been the 9th in previous months. I did read somewhere that they threatened to leave the UK market over patents, so I wondered if they won't do the AirPods promo as a retaliatory measure. Thanks. Okay, so first of all, yes, I'm pretty sure that we will be getting the Back to School promo coming. I'm hoping for it because, you know, my wife's still a student. But on that topic, the retaliatory measures, right. So yes, there is a patent issue going on at the minute. One of the UK courts has ordered Apple to pay $7 billion to a patent troll, and Apple's like, yeah, don't think so. And they've said that they've threatened to leave the UK market. I honestly don't see it happening, but I definitely don't think that saying that UK students can't have free AirPods is much of a threat to the court system. So I don't think that's what's going on there. I think we will be getting our back to school promo, but since the kids are still at school right now, probably going to carry on for a little bit longer. I think the back to school thing will probably start either the end of this month or the beginning of August. That's my thoughts. And Evan Rogers asks, Apple Inc., like any other person, is not perfect. What do you consider to be their biggest current failing or shortcoming? Okay, on this one, it's pretty simple for me. It is the right to repair stuff. I don't think that they should be forced to change the way that they build the products, but I do think that the manuals on how to fix stuff should be available, and I think all the parts should be available to repair shops. I'm not bothered about third-party stuff being usable, because this is one of the problems that Apple kind of puts warnings up if you try and use a third-party item. But I think that should be there because you don't want a third-party thing being put in that maybe has other hardware in it that maybe is tracking you. There's a lot of stuff that goes through your iPhone that you would not want to be revealed, you know, credit card numbers, location all the time, all that kind of stuff. So that's my biggest thing, but I'm not 100% sure how they should address it. Thank you all for watching. We will see you on tomorrow's show, and leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought of the show. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.